Hi everyone, welcome to Kayla x Shonie, and in today's video we will be doing a furniture flip and we'll be showing you guys the process of us taking these vintage nightstands and transforming them into something beautiful. These are the beautiful nightstands that we found. They're a little outdated, but other than that, they're perfectly fine. There's no damage or anything. It's just a more outdated style, so we thought we'd tackle updating them and making them to something beautiful and one of a kind. The first thing we did to start the flipping process is we took off all of the brass hardware that we were going to clean and reuse in the final design. And here I'm just using tape to replace the knobs on the nightstand so that it'll be easy to open and close the dresser drawers if I need to, because they will no longer have the knobs there as pulls. Now I'm going through and I'm using crud cutter to clean all of the dirt, grime, and grease off of the dresser. I would recommend only using this on the outside of the dresser, because I did try to use this chemical on the inside of the dresser and actually end up ruining the inside of one of the drawers. So I ended up going back later and having to line all of them because I ruined one of them. So yeah, I just end up using soap and water for the inside of the other cabinets after that mistake, but I used the crud cutter on the outside to make sure there was no dust, no grime, or anything like that. Now I'm going through and I'm sanding down both of the nightstands. Ideally, it would have been best if I had a sander to do this, but I didn't have access to a sander at the time, so I just thugged it out with some sandpaper and my arm strength. So yeah, it was long and tedious, but I got through it with just some music and it turned out just fine. So yeah, if you don't have power tools, sometimes you can just put a little bit of elbow grease in it and that'll work just fine too. Now I'm just going through and getting all of the dust from the sanding off of the nightstand so that I can get started on the primer. This is the primer base I decided to go for. I'll try to remember to link it down in the description for you. But we researched what some other furniture flippers were using, and this seemed to be the best product, so we decided to go with this one. And here I am just rolling it as evenly as I can onto the nightstand using a sponge roller. Now that everything has been coated with primer, I'm going through and giving it another good sand to make sure that there's no lumps or anything in our primer coat, so that when we put the paint on, it won't be any bumps or lumps. It'll be a really smooth finish. And I'm going through again and getting all the dust off of the nightstand before I go on to the first coat of paint. The paint we use is by Behr, and it's the color Frosting Cream. It's a really pretty creamy color that we thought would look really nice with all of the brass hardware we plan on cleaning and restoring for the nightstand. And again, I'm going through and I'm using a sponge roller to try to apply the paint as evenly as possible. If we had a paint sprayer, it'd probably be easier, but again, I didn't have access to power tools at the time, so I just used as steady as a hand as I can and a little bit of elbow grease, and it turned out just fine, just like it did with the sanding process. And again, I'm sanding in between each coat. Sanding is one of the most important parts of this because it's going to make sure the finish is nice and smooth at the very end. So I sand it again, and once it dried, well, I sand after it dried and dusted everything off again, and now I'm going through with another coat, and you just will repeat this process until you have nice full coverage on your dresser. I finished everything off with a top coat that I will try my best to remember to also link down in the description for you. Okay, now it's time to restore the original brass hardware. After looking at a couple videos on this process, I found that it's best to boil them in white vinegar and use a soft bristle toothbrush to scrub all of the grime and dirt off. It worked out pretty well. I had to repeat the process, I think only about twice, and everything was nice and shiny at the end. So yeah. And now I'm going through and lining the inside of the drawers that I told you guys I had to line because I ended up messing up the insides of one of them with the crook cutter. So yeah, I went through and I just got some contact paper, and it's really pretty, like creamy marble color, and I lined all of the dresser drawers. Finally, I'm just going through after everything is dried and cleaned and the whole process is done, and I'm just going through and putting back on all the original hardware that I restored. As you can see, it's nice and shiny and bright. It looks just as good as new, so I'm really happy about that. And here is the final look. I really love it. I love the pretty creamy color that we end up going with, and how nice the brass hardware looked once we restored it. So yeah, I think we definitely did a really good job at restoring these. And if you like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos like this.